I'm Duncan Heath. I'm a conversion strategist here at Fresh Egg, and this training is going to cover some of the fundamentals of running a CRO campaign, but also cover some of the more advanced elements that aren't talked about so frequently. In this, our fourth video of the CRO training series, we're going to be talking about personalisation. Now, there are two forms of personalisation. The first is rule-based, where a manually constructed cause and effect protocol is set up. So an example of this is if user takes or has X attribute, then this is the effect that will be shown on the website or an app or wherever you're running the personalisation. The second is algorithmic personalisation. So this is a self-learning algorithm, which is still technically rule-based, but it has that element of automatically updating itself as it works out what the best experience or the best optimization for a user is. So a good example of this on sites is product recommendations, where you might have users like you were interested in X products. Now the like you bit would be potentially automatically updated to find better rules to match your attributes and your behaviors, as well as the product section. So what product outputs look like can be refined over time as the performance of different algorithm tweaks can be measured. So it's a self-learning process. So an example of algorithmic personalization can be seen here on one of our clients, Wineware. We ran this test for them where we introduced algorithmically powered product recommendations that best matched the audience groups they're being shown to. And this is above, we had initially a manually built process of recommendations, and this superseded it and increased revenue per visitor by 17.9%. So a very big uplift from introducing an algorithm there on product pages. An example of a rule-based personalization can be seen here on Secret Escapes, where the landing page was dynamically updated based on the type of keyword someone was entering. So a rule was set up to say if users are come from a PPC campaign where the word spa or spa breaks, for example, were included, then the imagery was changed and the language was changed on that sign-up page to better reflect their intent. So it wasn't algorithmic, but it was a rule-based process for personalizing a landing page based on keyword and source. Another example of a rule-based personalization here, again, Wineware, and this was a mechanism for showing messaging to international visitors that was personalized based on their geolocation to help them understand that delivery was available to their country and to give them some information about that delivery. So this was found out after doing some research, and we'll get onto the research section in a second, but this worked by showing, let's say in this example, someone's come from Norway, the Norwegian flags, there's an immediate recognition element there, and reassurance that the website does deliver to that region, and with a number to call if there's any questions around it. This simple rule-based personalization increased conversion rates by 19%, or orders from international visitors, I should say. So when it comes to personalization, it can be really tempting to personalize just for the sake of it. So changing page layouts, colors, languages for different audience segments, and just seeing if that they happen to work, which is a really bad way of going about it and not something we recommend. You really want to think about personalization as helping a user make their experience more fluid, less friction, and providing the right information at the right time for them. So in this way, you could liken it to an in-store shop assistant who might be helping users to find the right products for them, present products in a way that is suitable for those people. So if they're of a certain demographic or a certain age group, they might have the information presented to them in a different way by a shopkeeper who can, or shop assistant, sorry, who can read what their needs are and deliver the content in the right way. Answering specific questions the users might have, or even kind of varying price, which is a bit of a contentious one, but it is possible, and it can have a big impact on conversion if you're showing different pricing to different regions potentially, or different traffic sources. So how do you go about generating personalization ideas in the first place? Well, qualitative is the place to start with this one. You really need to understand what the different audience groups you have are and what their different needs are, which you're only really going to get from qualitative research rather than quantitative. So we advise starting with mechanisms such as customer service interviews, as we've discussed in a previous session, heuristic assessment, so looking at the website and seeing what kind of audience groups could be catered for differently, and visitor surveys, so asking users when they come to the site what their different needs are and what their if there's any reluctance they have in certain areas to provide information or provide a purchase. And that can really help segment users into different groups. Okay, so quantitative data can also be used in the personalisation research stage in a role to really support the insights that you get from qualitative. So in this example, we've got analytics data from Google Analytics, where you could understand if an insight found through stakeholder research was valid by identifying how many users on the site are performing a certain action that was suggested or buying certain products that the stakeholders think they are. Salesforce data, so CRM data in general, Salesforce in this example, could be used to maybe see how many users are buying certain volumes of products. So have you got a certain segment that are purchasing many products time and time again versus those who are one-time purchasers who haven't returned since? And then DMP data, so Crux as an example, can be used to identify third-party segments, so third-party data sources that can be segmented to understand if users have different attributes or behaviours that don't necessarily occur on your site but can still be used to personalise through your users. Once you've identified the different needs, the different groups of audiences with different needs on your site, you then need to go through a process of identifying how to track them, how to identify them when they actually come to the website. So in this example here, we can see that we've identified a group of users who are customers with a need to buy female clothing suitable for ages 18 to 24. But how do we go about actually identifying them when they come to the site? There's a few rules I've set up here as examples. So you could say that you could group users into this category once they've bought female clothing suitable for that age group within the last 6 months. And you get that data from a CRM like your back-end sales tool, for example. Or you could set up a rule to say, okay, they've viewed female clothing suitable for the age group in the last 3 months of the site, and they've not viewed female clothing outside of this age range. So they're not interested in another group of clothing. They're basically validating themselves as within that audience segment currently. And this could be from a real-time tool like analytics data. You could, of course, use third-party data from a DMP to say that you want to identify people who have bought female clothing of a lower age range, greater than 3 years ago. So this might suggest if they've bought clothing on a third-party site that was of a lower age range, this was a few years ago, when they come to your site, they're a bit older now, and you could use that rule to start targeting them with age-appropriate clothing. Now, as that data becomes further away from your core source, that's third-party data of a longer time period, it becomes less valid. But these things, of course, can be split tested to identify whether those rules are actually genuinely useful or not. Personalisation and CRO should really work hand in hand. There's a graphic here that kind of represents this. So this is a store that has been optimized to the nth degree. Everything is in its place and labeled correctly, and this can be likened to a website that spent a lot of time on conversion optimization. Their user experience is very good, there's a lot of persuasive mechanisms put in place, but there's no one around to help. So there's no personalization on this site, there's no one-to-one kind of communication or anything that's going to help that user beyond the average experience. So it's a bit of a kind of derelict store. On the flip side, you might have a store that is really not optimized, everything is mismatched, there are signs all over the place, it's not very clear, but you've got a butler there to help you navigate this terrible experience. You end up creating basically a crap personalized experience. So this is a good argument to suggest that you need both. You want to spend time optimizing the site through conversion optimization, but you certainly want to introduce some of those more personal elements to give users more of a interaction and more suitable experience than the average. There are some tools to help you personalize. In fact, there's a ton available now, and it can get quite confusing as to all of the pros and cons and which one is most suitable for your business. We've actually completed a comparison table and a detailed guide of all the personalization tools that we think are the strongest online, and you can find that via that short URL there. So some key takeaways from this session: there are lots of simple ways to personalize a website, and they can be a really effective way at improving your the site engagement and conversion. Personalisation should go hand in hand with CRO, that they're not mutually exclusive, they should be run at the same time, and they both have their place. They should start with a customer need analysis, so start with that qualitative research to identify what the different groups of users are based on their need before you start doing any quantitative analysis. And you should also develop a personalisation plan that is aimed to be tested over time. So we talked about testing of ideas. Personalisation should be worked in exactly the same way as you work with a conversion optimization strategy, where you're split testing your ideas, your solutions, to put quantitative data behind them.